I'm a physical education teacher. I teach in primary schools and secondary schools, and at night I teach swimming at the local club. I teach to multiple children and adults, and in this case, Alessia invited me to talk about non-neurotypical adolescents. And however, I have students with these sort of cases. Nowadays, it's very common here in Portugal. And I never had the time during my work to assess what I know, what I really know, and to make, a document that can help me and can help other people about the things that I'm learning. Because sometimes you just know things, but you never write these things down. You never had the time to really think about them. So first of all, I want to thank Alessi because she gave me the opportunity to do this, okay, to make it like very compact document so I can share with you guys my experience, okay? So introduction, swimming as recreative or sports, because it's very different. In my case, I assume that recreative is like when I'm teaching children how to swim, how to survive in the water. That's one thing. And in sports, I consider like pre-competition or competition when they already know how to swim and they want to get results, they want to get medals. So these are two different things. And swimming is like what it says here is the propulsion of the body through a combination of arms and leg motions and natural flotation of the body. Some teachers teach in their classes a lot of leg work, and it's important, but it's not essential. When we look at water movement, you have to realize that the propulsion comes a lot, and the main part of propulsion comes from the arms, not from the legs. The legs are more for balance, and the arms are more for propulsion. It's a bit different when we are running, for example. So we are focusing on legs. We are running with our legs, and our arm is just for balance. In the swimming, in the water is totally different. So it's a good thing to say in here. And swimming is very useful, as you know, as therapy, as exercise for all sorts of problems. When you go to doctors, they always say, okay, you have a lower back pain, so you have to go to swimming. You have headaches, you have to go to swimming. Your arm hurts, you have to go to swimming. What they want to say sometimes is like, you have to go to water, and either you can do swimming or you can do either gymnastics, either therapy. If you are in the water, you have less contact with gravity, so your body feels lighter, and so you can do more. And that's a ton of scientific data that proves that. I put it here because Alexa told me that you really want some bibliography. I tried to put some things here and there, and one of them is from Stallman and says that regular aquatic exercise releases endorphins and reduces stress and provides a sense of accomplishment. And this data is well observed not only in adolescents, but in adults or people with disabilities, okay? So what does a non-neurotypical means, or what is this of non-neurotypical? Well, first of all, it refers to individuals whose brain development or brain function is different from what is typically expected. Includes a range of conditions that influence how individuals perceive or process and respond to the world. It's very different. In terms of non-neurotypical cases, I just chose 3. I could go to Down syndrome and other things. I just chose 3. First of all, I chose the autism spectrum disorder, which is very common nowadays. It may include, sensory sensitivities, difficulties with communication, which is, the more common thing that we all know about autism. That is like, okay, they have a lack of communication. They are autism. No, it's not true. It can be or cannot be. It has to be assessed by a specialist. How these people behave, and they have a really preference for a thing. Sometimes autists like math, or like swimming, or like water, or like bread. They have a specific thing that they like, and they like to be strict to a routine. They really like routines. It's very important. I don't know how it happens in other countries, but here in Portugal, nowadays in schools, they try to diagnose by 2 years old, 2 or 3 years old up and above, so they are in school, teachers and educators they start looking at some characteristics of the children. Okay, it can be older, it can get to a point, like in my time, it get to a point that we only diagnose people with autism at the age of 16 or 17, which is the age range that we are working here, but normally above 2 years old. And that's a terrific job that schools are doing nowadays, because if we can identify as I forgot the name. Tina was saying before, like if you diagnose like ADHD sooner, you can tackle it better. And in the case of autism, it's better. If you know that that person needs specific caring, and it's better. So like here in Portugal, so we have the first stage, which are the educators and teachers that identify if like autism, and then they call a psychologist or another kind of therapist that I don't really know how to translate to English, that come here and they play games, they try to talk, and they can make like an assess if the kid has autism or not. Okay, now the most important, what you work in here, I think the project that you're working with, ADHD, is like often characterized by hyperactive, it's like he's an hyperactive, he's running all the time, is impulsivity and difficulty in maintaining attention. It's a condition that affects people's behavior because they can't really control their selves, their emotions. They are always full of energy or losing focus. So it's very difficult, and they can seem restless. It seems that they don't want to rest. They are all with the energy all the time, and may have trouble concentrating and may act on impulse. ADHD nowadays, as autism, is very early identified, and they can, I was saying to Tina, teacher really like to go with this sort of speech, which will be like, okay, now he's have ADHD, is identified, now he's going to take some Ritalin and he's going to take some pills. What I do at primary is I say, no. First of all, let's think, okay, if the person has ADHD, what can we do besides pills, besides medicines, to help these children? Is he or she doing sport? Is he practicing some sort of yoga, mindfulness? Are you showing him or her like videos, images, because it sometimes helps, because they cannot concentrate when we are talking. They are so full of energy, so full of these concentrations, and they usually, when ADHD happens too, they like a lot of things. So they are looking at one thing, and 5 minutes later they like it another thing, and they are focusing. So we have to follow a path which I don't agree, like go straight to pills. We have to think about it, like plan A, do sports, plan B, doing mindfulness or yoga, plan 3, using images and videos. And if everything that we are using doesn't work, okay, now you can go to a doctor, see a doctor, and see if they really need pills or anything else. Okay. And so I think I had ADHD when I was young. It was not fully identified because in our days, they really didn't care, and I was practicing sports. But from the moment I stopped practicing sport from the age of 10 to 12. I was in competition of swimming, and I stopped for a while, and my grades decreased, and I was full of energy all the time. I couldn't concentrate, and in that time, we don't have we didn't have psychologists at school to identify this. But now that I'm currently seeing psychologists like once a month, I was talking to her about I was very hyperactive. I couldn't maintain concentration, and she said that maybe I was ADHD, but I don't really know if that was happening right there. But I wish that I was identified, because I could do more sports or mindfulness and other things to help me concentrate and get better grades. It was not because it normally is the teachers and people confuse ADHD with lack of capacity or ability to learn. Like, person can be super smart. I think that it was Michael Phelps or Elon Musk or even Einstein that were very hyperactive. They had ADHD, and so at some point of their lives, they were being badly treated by teachers and educators, saying that they were not smart because they were hyperactive and they didn't have the ability to maintain attention. And so it's very different. And the other one that I put in here, it's called sensory processing disorder. It's basically a difficulty processing sensory information. So like, which can cause two things. They can be over response to things, to sensory information, or can they be under. So they can react excessively to water, to sound, to touch. That's why in these cases, for example, in the swimming pool, if we have a over responding teenager to water or to sound, we normally teach during the afternoon, which is the time that we don't have any people around. The swimming pools are empty, so we can just try to teach them as much as possible in a comfortable environment. And this affects not only children, but teenagers, adults, seniors. It's commonly seen as development condition like autism. It can be related to autism. Sometimes it can be, sometimes it cannot. It can be only sensory, but it's very difficult. I have a case which is, her name is Matilda. I'm going to talk about it later better. And Matilda has autism and this sensory disorder. So she can't stand sound. So even though she brings like ear tampons or like some sort of cap around her head, when she was in the class full of students at the beginning, she couldn't bear. It was too much to her. Like, she couldn't cope. She just wanted to go because the sound was too much to her. And so it's very important to know, especially these three that are very important for me, because most of my students that I have with these sort of problems are in this spectrum of things. And so I put it here, why understanding matters. Recognizing their needs and their strengths, because they have their strengths and it's important to assess them, allows for tailored approaches that can help the growth of the person, that become faster and their confidence can increase too. And understanding these differences fosters a sense of empathy, and it promotes effectiveness in our way, or in our way of teaching. If we can know what we can do, we cannot do with them, it will be much easier to teach swimming. So if I don't know this, I know a lot of swimming, but if I don't know these main things about their disorders, I cannot do anything with them. It doesn't matter if you are very good at teaching crawl, you're teaching front crawl or backstroke or butterfly. If you cannot reach the children, if you cannot reach the adolescents, it will be very difficult. So to the next slide. So it says like, why swimming is beneficial for non-neurotypical adolescents. Well, swimming is much more than a sport. Like I said before, when you go to a doctor and we have some sort of pain, they say go to swimming, because it's like, I consider swimming like a tool. It's like, it helps physically, it helps with sensory integration, with emotional stability, with social development, which is so important for autism, especially for autism, how they can cope with groups, how can they interact with people. It's very important. So I divide this in four. I divided this next slide, I divided like in physical health, sensory integration, emotional stability, and teaching. And so in physical, I have here, it's like the main point. I put it, improved coordination and motor skills. So swimming requires the simultations of arms, of legs, some core muscles like the abdominals and the lower back. And so doing this enhances gross motor skills that sometimes they cannot work outside this environment. And overall, it improves their body coordination. That sometimes they are in ADHD, they are so full of energy that it seems that they don't have a control of the body because they want to release so much energy at a time that putting them in a streamlined position, trying to do front crawl, and them to realize that they have to be in a streamlined position, very calm. And when they learn this movement, they are improving coordination. And then when they learn that, they'll know that they can use as much energy as possible because they will be able to do it. Next is muscle strength and endurance. Like I said, the resistance of water, it helps in many ways, which one of them is like builds muscle strength, because we have two dilemmas here. Because in water, when we are in the water, you feel lighter because the presence of gravity is lower. But in the other hand, water is heavier. So when you're trying to go from point A to point B, if you are trying to swim, you are much slower than if you are running outside water. But so it can improve muscle strength at the time that it can relax muscles. And with all of this combined, it can help promoting cardiovascular health. This is, I think it's my opinion, especially helpful for adolescents with low muscle tone or those needing a low impact exercise point. I consider swimming a very important start as a cardiovascular exercise, because low impact, because when we are running, we are feeling impact, and when we feel impact, our body responds in a more dynamic way. We are in the water, we are relaxed. Even though we are exercising, the body is relaxing. And in terms of cardiovascular, we are not pushing too much for a child that sometimes a teenager is not doing nothing. And currently we know with technologies and social media and such, they exercise for a couple of years when they are in control of the parents, but then when they get to a certain age, I think it starts when they are teenagers. When they are 12, 13, they start to realize that they can be their own bosses, and they start to realize, okay, I don't want to go. I just want to stay at home. I just want to stay and play Fortnite or Counter-Strike or whatever, or watch telly. So it's very important exercise for them. And it's, as teachers, we are responsible to make fun and engaging lessons. And sometimes we fail in that. And accessible for all abilities. So water provides buoyancy, which is very important for all people. I'm tired of saying that to children, babies, adults, adolescents. Buoyancy, it's the most important weapon that you have. When you fall from a boat, when you go to the sea, you are in a situation of distress, you just float. You just float looking up, and that's it. Even if your legs are sinking, you just make little movements with your arms, a sculling position, and that's it. Buoyancy is very important. And with all cases, it reduces the impact on joints. Swimming is suitable for individuals with physical challenge, with people with not physical challenge. And in terms of sensory, it's very, very helpful. Okay, physical, it's done. In terms of sensory, which is more difficult to explain, the pressure of the water, as I said before a little bit, I think that the water is a perfect environment for everyone, because it gives you feel that you can do everything, because you feel that you are less heavier, but at the same time it promotes like drag, and with that drag you turn your muscles. So the water pressure provides the body a deep sensory feedback, which can be very calming. It can help individuals, like with the cases that I said before, become more aware and of their body and about their feelings. Okay, in terms of tactile, while water might initially feel when they are starting. In teenagers, it depends. Okay, if they are starting swimming, it can be very overwhelming. If they have experience, it's not. But can be very overwhelming for those with sensory sensitivities, like with the sensory disorder. So exposure in a controlled way can help them gradually adapt and reduce tactical defensiveness that I said before. They can have, sensitiveness of sound or water or touch. And in swimming pool, I think the data says that it can decrease that sensitivity. Okay, in terms of vestibular movement in the water, like flotation, buoyancy, or turning, like when you're doing a slide and you're turning and you're, rotation from the axis, or turning like on the front or in the back, engage the vestibular system, which helps balance and spatial orientation. I really like to do exercise with teenagers, which is like they are floating and then I whistle and they have to make, like, we call it, I don't know the street name for this. I will say like the rotation. They rotate to the front or rotate to the back multiple times, and then they have to really know where they are. Sometimes they slide, they buoyance, and they rotate with their eyes closed. And when they come out, I just ask, where are you right now? What are you looking at? And they have to guess. And it's a very interesting game. So it can improve balance, it can improve coordination, it can improve confidence in physical activities. So emotional, it's very, very important for me. I put it here, health, but I think that we can be focused on emotional. I have a lot of teenagers that come with a lack of attention, from their parents, of care. And sometimes the teachers have to work in these ways. We cannot always demand to children and teenagers. We have to be like not their friends, but like psychologists, friends, mates. We have to be there with them, try to take some stress from schools. Nowadays, they have a lot of pressure from school, so they come tired, they come stressed. I have exam tomorrow, teacher, please don't bother me with. And so we have to talk, we have to promote some interesting lessons for them to do what we want, and they feel that they are doing something that is meaningful and very engaging, I think. And with people with autism and sensory disorder or ADHD, it's even worse when they come to these lessons. They come even stressed. They come even sometimes we confuse a higher amount of energy with them not being stressed, but they are. So if we are putting so much demanding in them, we will lose them, and we are not improving their health and their condition. That's why I put here stress reduction. The nature of water, of course, it reduces, but our lessons, the way we teach, it's very important. Confidence building, as I said, learning to swim is an achievement for them, and to improve all the time. They have to sense that they have learned so much, but every single person, even though they know a lot of swimming, they know a lot of butterfly and backstroke, they want to get out of the lesson with a sense they are learning more and they are built a confidence. So we have to give them achievements, milestones all the time, which can be like flotation in case of people that are learning, or diving. Some people know how to swim a lot and great, they swim front crawl and backstroke, great, but then they cannot dive. So we can promote exercise of diving. If they start diving correctly, they will be so confident about their swimming, and it's great when we have these sort of situations. Sometimes adolescents, I have cases like I told about to Matilda. When I start with her, she couldn't swim 25 meters. I start with 5 meters, and it was like a really huge accomplishment for her. I remember when her mother used to pick her up at the swimming pool, she was laughing and saying, "Hey, mommy, I did it." And then 10 meters, and now she swims 25 meters and it's okay. She's not a big deal. But back then it was. And 25 meters is a big deal, but we have to give her like things all the time to achieve. It's part of human race and part of even more in children and adolescents to feel this sort of sense of accomplishment. Okay, structure and predictable. Pools often have structures and clear boundaries, which can help non-neurotypical adolescents to feel safe and secure. One of them is like they cannot run around the swimming pool. They cannot, jump into the pool unless teacher or the lifesaver says to do it. We always have to descend from the stairs unless I say that they cannot jump. There's a set of rules that are so important and are a part of routine. And as I said before, routine is very important for these sort of disorders. So because they are there, they know. And so they start to follow rules. And sometimes these children have a problem to follow rules. And because these rules are so strict and are always the same, it's better for them to get them and to put in their minds. Okay, practical skills. I put it not social development because I insert that in emotional. I was very keen to put some practical evidence, like water safety. It's learning to swim, as I said before, and as you well know, is like a critical life skill, especially for safety reasons. I'm always saying to children the importance of buoyancy, the importance of going to the swimming pool. I teach a lot per year, a lesson which is like basically they bring clothes with them. It can be t-shirt, can be jeans, it can be jumpers, shoes, clean shoes, of course, and they have to jump to the pool. And so they have to jump to the pool, and the first thing they have to do is like to take it off some part of the clothes. Some of them can sometimes be helpful, like if you are wearing a jacket, the jacket can be sometimes helpful to make like a sort of buoyancy device. You can like zip on the jacket, you make it like a knot on top of it, you can blow it and make a knot, and then the jacket like this one, I have a similar jacket, like this type of jackets, I have it here, thankfully. And if you try to put some air in it, it can work as a buoyancy device. But nevertheless, it's like most of the clothes we have to take it off, because if the clothes are in full of water, they become heavier and you can go down. So I do a lot of this, like jumping in, taking off the clothes. If you have some sort of clothes that are helpful, and I teach them before which sort of clothes are helpful to have or not, take it off because it's much heavier. And I see a lot of cases, like we have like some sort of workshops here in Portugal of people drowning, and one of the reasons that so many people drown on the sea, it's when they fall off from a boat. They don't take their clothes off. They know how to swim, but they are so tired, and after a while they just drown. And so water safety is very important, and it's important to non-neurotypical adolescents, even more important for them, because they have a higher risk of water-related accidents, because sometimes they can not access the dangers as well as others. Like with ADHD, they are so full of energy that they think they are capable of doing anything. So they can jump because they are full of energy. They think they are gonna be safe at all times. So they risk it far more in the sea, in the lakes, in the swimming pools. So it's very important to deliver information at all time and to tell them the risks to potential impulsivity or problems. Technique, I put it technique. It's like it's very important to teach all sorts of styles. I like to teach, like, first of all, I like them to have a sense of comfortness in the water. If it's ADHD, sometimes I try to take them that overexcitement that they have. So I'm not worried that they are not feeling comfortable in the water. Most of the times they are, but I'm trying to take that energy off a little bit with games and mind games and games when they are trying to get some things in the water. When it's sensory disorder, in case of under responsiveness, I have to tell them less about the dangers and more about the benefits of the water. So ADHD, I tell more about the disadvantages of and the dangers of being in water. And in sensory, I give them more sense of the benefits. And so I really like to do the adaptation to the water. First of all, put the face in water, like you all have. I'm sure that you all do that. Put the face in the water, then trying to do some beautiful exercise like standing on your hands in the water, like doing like a stand out with your hands, then picking up some objects that sink in the water, trying to do some slides. I call it slides. I don't know if I'm saying correctly, which is like put your hands on the edge of the pool and trying to pull with your legs, and they try to go in a streamlined position, then trying to rotation. And then when they are very, very adapt to the water, they already know how to jump from the edge of the pool, so I have these cushions on the swimming pool that I put them one on the top of the water or the other, and they jump to the pool. So after that, I start to teach the front crawl, and in front crawl position, I don't know if it happens in your country or not. I think that teachers are very keen to immediately start with the perfect technique. Okay, we can teach perfect technique, but first of all, we are teaching children and adolescents and adults, whatever it is, to be safe in the water, be independent in the water. And so I start with the basics of arms. I don't teach them like to bend the elbows straight away if they can't. My goal is they try to take the arm out of the water. So they rotate their pulse from one way to another, so it rotates better the arm. And then when they're rotating better the arm, I start like, you have to get with the hand on the water and then try to bend. So I really think, and I think that everyone should do it, like progressive exercise. We don't start immediately like with exercise very demanding and very structured. Sometimes we have to teach just the basics and then play some games. Okay, you already know how to propose with your arms. Now I'm going to throw some arrows to the water, and then you're going to pick it up. But attention, you have to go there using your arms or your legs. And so I try to teach this first before I teach the real perfect thing. And so I start front crawl. Normally I'm going to backstroke, buoyancy. And I think I'm already boring you with these issues, but then I'm going to a basic movement of breaststroke. I really like to use it, and I really like to share with all of people that I talk to about this, because I learned in the UK and it was very important to me, because kids and adolescents, non-typical adolescents, it works perfect. They want to do exercise and to learn things in a fun way, like with seeing cartoons or associating a movement with the thing that they know. So when I'm teaching breaststroke, which is like this movement, let me check, like this movement, I like to call it a pizza. So they are making pizzas, okay? Like, okay, do you like pizza? No. Okay, do you like pie? Okay, do you like pie? It can be pie for you. So you're going to straight your arms, and then you're going to make a pizza, okay? You're going now, and then you touch next to your chest. Okay, it's a pizza, it's done. But the pizza is very, very big, and we are so many students here where you can share your pizza with. So you're going to cut it. So you make the pizza and you cut it. So then you have 2 slices and you can split with your friend. And so they make pizzas. They are, hello, teacher, I make pizza. So they start doing the breaststroke from the age of 3, because they just thinking they are doing pizzas. They are doing or pies, whatever. They are doing something that they know and they like. And so it's very engaging, very fun, and they really love it. And so foundation for other activities. I like to teach them the basics and then the fundamentals, and I'm not very sad, or some teachers get so angry or sad when the person, the adolescent, leave the class. I know, because sometimes they just want to try other things. Sometimes it's like I have adolescents the age of 14, because I live near the sea, and they just say, hey, okay, teacher, I already know how to swim. I just want to start practicing surf or bodyboard, or I just want to play some polo, or some things that are related with water, but not really related with swimming. But they already have this amount of skills that can be useful for other activities. And so it's very important to build foundations, really good foundations for other things. Okay, So I have a brief mention of challenges, which I already told you a little bit when I was describing the three things I'm talking more today. The first of all is sensory sensitivities. I talked about over responsiveness and under responsiveness. I'm now focusing more on the over. So water on the face, they start crying. Pool temperature, it's too cold, it's too hot. Loud echoes, oh my God, I can't bear it. Or I have some people that can bear it. So the water in the face, it's very important. What I do, I'm going to tell you what I do, is not to rush things. Don't rush things. Like they are oversensitive to water in the face. Okay, just ask them. Okay, you're going to the shower there, and you're just going to start looking to the shower. Okay, it's too much. Okay, just look down and start and let the water, drain from your hair to your face. Okay, they are ready. Now look at the shower and let the water hit your face. Okay, that's it. They go to the pool. Sometimes, no, lots of times they start screaming and shouting and crying. Oh my God, I don't like water in the face. So what do? I like, okay, just imagine that you are washing your face, start washing your face. And for some lessons, they are just washing your face. And then I'm very energetic. So I start eating with my hand on the water. So some water splash to their face. They start, in an uncomfortable position, and 5-10 minutes later they are comfortable and they are splashing water to myself, and then I'm starting splashing water for them. Okay, they are ready for some difficult exercise. I pick up a bucket and I put water above my head. I release it. They start doing the same because they see that I'm smiling, that I'm laughing, and then start to pick up some sinking toys. And what diverges from the neurotypical children, the non-neurotypical children take more time to do it. So we have to be very patient in this process. We can sometimes feel that we are not evolving, that we are not doing anything, but we have just to realize that they are very keen to a routine, and we have to do it until we make it. So maybe with normal, regular adolescents, it can take 1 month, 2 months. With non-neurotypical children or adolescents and even adults, it can take 6 months, 8 months. But the accomplishment for us when we see that the person is doing it is amazing. In terms of pool temperatures, if I'm teaching in afternoon, I have 3 pools at my disposal, so I can use imagine that they like hot water, I can go to the biggest pool. If they like hot water, I can go to the smallest pool. They have a difference of 5 degrees. So the big one is 27. The small one is like 31, 32. So it depends. I have access to these kind of things. So I try to play with it. I already have a case of a person. I think he was 15, 16 at the time. And I only had 1 pool, and he was very cold for his standards. So what I asked to his mom was like, there is like this sort of surf jackets, very cheap on Decathlon. It's like, they cost like 15 euros. You can buy one, put him on, and I think he will be better. Mom did it, and it was okay. It start to feel more comfortable in the pool. Loud echoes, as I said, if they are a particularly sensitiveness to loud noises, afternoon, or nowadays we have some sort of like headphones, like the ones that they use in construction, but are designed to be in the water because they are lighter. They can put it on, or they can put it on and then a cap on top of it, and they can't listen a thing, which it can works good. It's good because they don't listen to loud noises. But then when I'm trying to explain things, it's difficult because they don't listen. So I have to use a lot of images and videos, and I have like papers, like print papers with the images that I want when that person was on, and I just show him like, do this, okay, and they start doing. And then I have to go to the pool sometimes to just, can I touch you? And then because they have people that don't like to touch, and if they don't, I just use images and videos and other sort of things. Or sometimes I just do it. I do it in the pool, and they just, okay, I get it. I will done it. I will do it. Under responsiveness, I already said about it. Water temperature, overwhelmed about noise, water, echoes, people. Sometimes they are under responsiveness to people, to be touched, because, you know, adolescents, like I have a class nowadays from the 2012 to 15, and I have 2 people that have autism, and most of the students, they like to touch each other. They are in that phase. They are starting to realize what it means to kiss a person, and so they are very needy, and so they are touching and kissing each other, and those 2 people, they don't like it, and so I have to control that, trying to put them another lane, and it's very difficult. Difficulty in transitions, moving from one activity to another. So if we are doing front crawl and I'm going to backstroke, it's very difficult, this transition. I found it very difficult. Not so much with the ADHD. It's really is relative easy to pass it on. It's not really difficult when I want to have them like for like 20 seconds, just calm down, just 20 seconds. I explain it very quickly, and it will start doing it. You know, with ADHD, it's difficult in that sense. If they cannot stop, or when they cannot pay attention. But even in those cases, I use a lot of images. I do it myself a lot of times. I use videos, as I said, and so it helps a lot. Communication, more relative in relation with autism, but with ADHD, it can be too, because sometimes adolescents have difficulty understanding or expressing themselves. As I said, they are in a phase where their hormones are, you know, in a rush inside of them, so they cannot control themselves. So it requires for me sometimes of alternative communication strategies. I have to be very quickly. I have to use a lot of images and videos and do it myself, swimming myself. And I have to talk individually, especially individually. So they are doing an exercise. They are doing, I don't know, sliding or buoyancy. And while they are doing it, I just pick one, explain it, do it. I do it. I use it myself as an example, and then I'll do it with the others. So it's very difficult. That's why the classes in here, I don't know if it happens in other countries. I assume that it happens too. The classes that have ADHD identified, or autism, or sensory disorder, most of the times they are smaller. So when they start alone or with just another person. For example, I have this student called Margarida, and Margarida is how can I say it? Has a visual impairment, and so she can see shades, but she cannot see a lot, and she doesn't feel comfortable in the swimming pool. And I think she has like some sort of sensory sensitivities too, and so she has to be alone. She has to be alone. And what we are trying to achieve it is like, she's alone now, she's learning now, and then when she gets to a certain point when she learned a lot, we are going to put another student in here, and then if she feels all right, she goes to a normal class. So the teacher will be fully explain of what are her conditions, and then our job is like to introduce that person in the class. So she already knows how to swim. She has some disadvantages because of her condition, but she is included in the normal class. So it's very important to start alone, then start in a pair, and then the final class will be like a class full of people. But even in those classes, they are smaller compared with the normal ones. Managing emotions like anxiety and fear. If they are under responsiveness, they will have a lot of anxiety and fear. If they have ADHD, there's a thing about the teachers which is a pain in the ass for me. Sorry, apart about the word that I just said, which is like the teachers have this tendency, the old teachers, especially in Portugal, I mean, to scream. They scream a lot. They scream, and they punish a lot with no reasons. And sometimes we have these kids, they are just hyperactive and they have this lack of attention. And so they are just screaming at them. And what this does is like they feel more anxious. They fear the teacher. They don't feel comfortable or confident. And what happens is they give up, or they just, they feel so overwhelmed that they cannot perform what they are supposed to perform. So my approach in swimming pool, I'm very caring. I'm very friendly. Even when they do something wrong, I just pick that person apart, have a conversation with them. I'm not saying that I don't punishment, but my sort of punishment is not like strict. It's like, if they say, if they perform badly in a lesson for 5 minutes, the other kids are going to play with the toys. And I say, no, in 5 minutes, you're going to stay with me here, sit down, just having a conversation while you're seeing the other kids playing. But you are conversation with me. I'm not being mean or anything. It's just being there. And they will assess with these sort of behaviors. Like, if I do something wrong, it was not because I did one thing wrong or two or three, like 5 things wrong, teacher, he's like not letting me play. And I really love to play. And then they play well, I let them play even sooner. So we have to play with this. We have to be a manager of emotions. And I think sometimes we are not. And I think it's very important, because this can influence on behavior, impulsivity, meltdowns, difficulty following rules. If they feel that they really like you, these sort of things are easily overcome. They just have to feel that you are like a friend. You have to give them that sensation of friendship. Okay, now I put here common characteristics that might impact swimming. I already talked about them a lot. So many of the things that are here, I already said it, like there's over-responsiveness, under-responsiveness. It's much difficult to improve motor coordination in these cases. It's true, especially with autism. I know that you guys are talking about ADHD in your project, so I'll be more keen in ADHD. It's very difficult for them in ADHD to be attentive to things. So I can say one thing, I can say another. I can use images, and I can use films, and sometimes those things doesn't work. So, or games. So we just have to stick to a routine. I like to give one new exercise per lesson to ADHD adolescents, but I don't use a lot of new exercise because they have a difficultness of newness. Oh, no, I'm forgetting the word. What can I say? Like they have a difficulty to new exercise all the time. They have to follow a routine. So we can put a new exercise. Not only is a game, because they like games, so they are more focused about the game, but like specific exercise, until they already are doing them properly, I don't change a lot. So because they already know, I know that I explain once in a lesson, they get it more or less. And then in the second lesson, I explain it again. They already know almost everything they are supposed to know. And then on the third lesson, they already know. And the third lesson, they start doing it properly. And then on the fourth, again, and fifth, again, when they are ready, in the point that they are really know what they are supposed to do, then I change the exercise. But I don't promote many changes to autism lessons, to ADHD lessons, sensory disorder, to Down syndrome, sorry. And so I stick to a routine, and every change that can cause the stress, as I say here, it can be on a teacher. So I'm going to meet Alessia in a week in Greece. So I will miss a lot of lessons. And so every time I skip a lesson, I know that the teacher that will substitute me will tell me, okay, Mateus or Don or Inês, difficult to control. They were crying. They were asking about you. I put it some exercise. They don't know. I was telling them 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 10 times. They didn't get it. And I always say, like, because they are strict to a routine, I put one exercise per lesson. Sometimes I give them my lessons, but they don't follow it. That's not my fault, but they don't follow it. And so I put one exercise and they don't get it because they have autism. They have, they have specific abilities and disabilities. So you have to know them. And so it's very frustrating because when we miss, or the pool, sometimes it's strange to say that, but sometimes when we are, even with adolescents and or children, they poo on the pool or they pee on the pool. And so we have to take them off because the pool needs cleaning. And so we have to go to another pool because we have three. So we are in pool one, we have to go to the number two. So the depth is even higher. It's like they got scared. The water is cooler. They have other people around them because other classes are happening. So they are sharing the space with other kids. So it's very frustrating. Everything can be difficult to people, to adolescents. It's very, very difficult. I already talked a little bit about this, about the consistency of routines. Begin each session with familiar activities. I said that I changed the games, but normally I start with dolphins. We call it dolphins. They really like it. Or kangaroos. They can, every adolescents, teens, if they are in a phase that they don't know a lot of swimming, I start with this. They're just jumping. They are talking. They are connecting with their friends in that particularly space. I let them doing that familiar exercise. It reduces anxiety. It builds trust because they know what they are supposed to do when the lesson starts. I use always a structured lesson with clear start, middle, and end points. I put one exercise per lesson, but normally the middle part, I change it once a month, not many, because I want them to follow that exercise and to know it. And I use visual support. As I said, I use images, I print them, I use my tablet, my phone. We have like these phones with no access to the internet or to data. So we have to pick up the phone, connect it with the PC, and put some images in there because of the data security. It's just a phone to show them images or videos. I use icons. I think I have here some images. I put in here like calm environment. It's like our pool is a bit like this. In the afternoons, we have this empty pool. And so I can be with someone else, with adolescents. I have Gonzalo, which have autism and ADHD, has the two. And so he has to be in a relaxed environment. I can be with him. So empty pools are great. Icons, I was telling you about icons. I use these sort of things. We have these things that they are, you can glue it. You glue a piece to a sort of plastic, not paper, plastic, whatever, a rectangle in plastic that we put in there, and we just can show things first. Then we can show front crawl, we can show buoyancy, we can show a kid just picking up sinking toys. It's great. It's really, really great. Preparation. You know already how your kids behave, how your kids are. So if you have like exercise ready, if you know what they are going to say or to do when you explain it, you are much more aware of how your lesson is going to be. Pool condition, that situation of warm water, cold water, normal water. Sometimes the kids complain. If you can manage it, great. Foster a sense of safety. This is a little bit sort of the technique. If you teach him how to buoyant, how to slide, how to do some pizzas, I tell you, some front crawl strokes, they will be more capable of feeling safe in the water because they know how to get out. And I put this on the bottom of the slide. Look at the individual, and the approach can't be the same. You can have an ADHD person, and it's very beautiful to have like ADHD persons, they like this or they perform like that and they do this and they do that. No, it's different. Sometimes one person can only be, lack concentration, and the other can be hyperactive. it doesn't mean that this person is hyperactive. This one is, this one isn't. So what can you do to approach them, to get to that person and to teach whatever you have to teach? It's very important. And I have some other images here, like this is with kids with, one is blind, two are with Down syndrome. It's not the case that we are studying today, but I really like the images I put in here. Nowadays, they have in the swimming pools lots of platforms in the water that you can use it, so they can feel that water is just hitting on their ankles, not hitting on their bellies, because sometimes they are, when they are starting, they are afraid of having the water on the bellies. With teenagers, doesn't happen that much because they are tall. If we're going to the lower pool, the water is hitting on their ankles, so it's okay. We don't need these platforms, but they are very, very important for lower ages. Here, I put this, I love this image. It's not, I didn't took this photo. Some of friends in the UK took this, and they were very, very nice to send it to me. We use this, it's like these sort of bands that they put around their heads. So it's not a cap, because in England they don't use caps. I don't know if you know about this. They only use caps when they are in competition. Normal kids, they don't use caps at all. So they put this. They have these little plugs included in the band. I don't know how to call this. And so they put it first, and then they put the rest of the, let's call it cap, around their head, and that's it. It works in two ways. First, some kids, because they are sensitive, don't like to have water on their ears. So it works well in these cases, and it works well in terms of decrease the amount of sound that they listen to. It's great. Okay, I already talked a little bit about teaching techniques. With adolescents, it's easier to teach compared with children, but I use a lot of images, and I use a lot of my own movements when I'm teaching front crawl. I use a lot of movements. I go in the water, I help them, I take them out of the water, I put them on the bench, I show them the video, they start doing it, because the video, I realize that they are more attentive. No, I don't think about the word. They are paying more attention when it's video, because maybe they watch a lot of TikToks and Instagrams and Netflix at home. So when they see a tablet and a video, I think their mind are more connected with sort of feeling pleasure when they're watching on the screen, and so they learn it faster. So it's very important to use this sort of technology. I use it a lot. I use it with adolescents, simple instructions. If I'm teaching backstroke, if I'm focused and everything is being badly performed, I don't say like, look at your head, look at your arms, look at your legs, look at your belly, up, look up. No, I'm just focusing, okay, this person, what is the worst part of that person movement? Okay, is the arm. Okay, I'm going to focus that they have to twist, they have to rotate their pulse and be next to their left or right ear. Okay, I'm just going to focus on that. Focusing, and just simple instruction, like rotate your pulse. That's it. And sometimes, again, I use visual aid. I already have my tablet full of images of specific things that I want to talk of every stroke. So I show it to that person, and that's it. Because I believe it. With these sort of cases, I think it's transversal when I'm saying this. They need a lot of repetition. They leave a lot of repetition, because it leads to routine, and which leads to a sense of success. It's all about repetition. Okay, we can do it a game, we can do it a different exercise per lesson, but not a very demanding one, not a very a movement connected with like straight with the teaching technique. Maybe more like techniques that they already know. They already know how to buoy. They already know how to pick up stuff on the bottom of the pool. They already know how to front crawl. They are learning butterfly, but yeah, they already know front crawl. So I'm going to be focusing on that, just to give them a sense of two, a sense of independence. It's important too. This one, allow them to be free, or at least give them a way of sense of freedom. Like it can be real freedom or fake freedom. Like we're going to say like, do this and go pick it up that, but we are doing exercise, but we are not realizing that they are doing exercise. So they think they are having time to explore. It's very important to give them some sort of time to exploration. And as I said in the previous slide, be patient, extra patient. It's very, very important. It's our best ally, the best. So I put in some photos. By the way, I don't know if you know it, Michael Phelps, which is, for me, I don't know for the rest of the world, for me, is the best swimmer ever. I remember to watch him on 2004, 2018 in Beijing, in 2012 in London. It's amazing. And he was identified with ADHD when he was very, very young. I put it in the bibliography. I put out the news about it from The Guardian. It explains it all. He had identified ADHD. Her mom signed him up for swimming lessons, and the rest, as you know, is history. He conquered everything, and he's a very well-functioning human being. And it tells us that if in these cases in ADHD, if we identify these problems soon and we start doing some sports, and as Tina said, mindfulness, yoga, these sort of exercises, the child can develop better, and he can have better results. He can be more well connected with society, and he will feel more confident, less anxious, and with less fear. And okay, encouraging social skills and independence. I have our images in here covering up a bit of the things that are on the right side. But I will start with group activities. Okay, it's important introducing simple games when we get an adolescent and we already know his problem, which can be autism or ADHD or Down syndrome. Simple activities, they're encouraged. If they are alone, we can do it too. Teamwork. If they are alone, with students, they are not alone at all because they are with us. So we can do some sort of simple games with us. And then when they are inserted in a class, they can do big games, teamwork, like passing a ball or running with their hands tied to each other or jumping at the same time. Or races, they can race each other, like competition. If they do that, we will be promoting group activities. In pair activities, as I said, it can be with me. If they are alone, we can, model swimming skills. We can jump together. We can buoyance together. You can clean up the swimming pool of all materials and put them in the right baskets together. So it's very, very important. Encouraging decision making.
João, sorry to interrupt you. Everything is super interesting, but we run out of time a bit.
Okay.
So
like one more slide.
Oh, okay. So maybe let's say 5 minutes more.
5 minutes,
So sorry,
5 minutes,
it's super
5 minutes,
interesting,
5 minutes,
but we
5
have.
minutes. I have my lunch on the oven, and I don't know if it's burning.
Okay, so let's say
Okay.
5 minutes, like 2 minutes to continue, and
Okay.
some questions, and yeah, thank you.
So, okay, celebrate success group. So they can celebrate in the class, they can celebrate with their parents, they can celebrate with teachers, caregivers, whatever. It's important to celebrate their milestones because they feel it differently from us. Because normally they are used to be mocked and not giving them much appreciation that they deserve. So we have to give them some sort of, positiveness. So success stories. Very quickly, Matilda, I already told you a little bit about Matilda. She has autism and some sort of sensory sensitivities to the water, to the touch, to the sound. It was awful. So we started up with her on the low pool with a colleague of mine, Elder, and it was very difficult to have contact with her. Even though the swimming pool was empty, we had some sort of noises coming up from the machines that pump water to the swimming pool. She didn't like that, so we had to start using like earplugs, and she started with him. He started teaching some sort of things, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, she came up to me this year to be inserted in a normal class. So Matilda now is it was very difficult because she didn't want to talk a lot with the other children. So I promote pair activities and group activities. So just so can she feel all right with them. And in terms of teaching, I had to show her a lot of videos and pictures, and it was great. And nowadays she already can communicate with people around her, and she already has friends, which is great. And whatever she comes, and whenever she leaves the class and her mom picks her up, she's always happy because now she can communicate and have friends. And João is very strange because he has some sort of autism, ADHD. I feel like he has a thing, it's not well identified, but it has a resemblance with Down syndrome, but it's not really Down syndrome. It's very difficult. They know that there is autist and ADHD in the lack of attentions, actually, and it's very difficult to control him. He's already inserted in a class, and I'm working with him. He already knows how to dive. He already knows how to pick up toys. He already knows how to propose himself with their arms. And the thing is about this, I have to repeat it a lot. I have to use images, and I cannot change it, my content a lot, because he wouldn't get it. So with him, I do something particular with the class, but with him, I try not to change a lot. And I see that since September, he is really development, and he already knows how to do front crawl, the basic, and backstroke. And he already has friends playing games. He really loves playing games. So when playing games, he is already top. And to sum up, thank you for listening to me.